Hello and welcome once again to another vocal analysis and reaction. My name is Alessandra, but I'm mostly known as Psamathes. I sing in video game soundtracks, trailer music, sample libraries, and my own independent music productions. This is a series where I'm looking as a versatile vocalist with training and experience singing in several vocal styles and music genres at songs from video games, individual artists, and stuff that you just recommend to me, and it's really fun to look at how different musicians and singers interpret the vocal instrument in their own individual and unique ways. This time I'm looking at probably my first Honkai Star Rail song, even though I've been playing this game since it first came out. This is the first boss fight song that really caught my ear as someone who is really into traditional singing styles. I use different forms of traditional singing techniques a lot in my own music. I am just interested in discovering more about them from across the world, and of course when this song came on during the boss fight and the vocals hit, I was like, oh wow, something is happening here that's different from the usual, still very beautiful music that I've heard so far, but this one is special for me. And this song is the Phantylia boss fight, which is different, I think, Pedujara. But well, it's different phases, but I think the main title is that one. And we'll be looking at the version from the Star Rail live concert, which is like an amazing performance overall, but of course we'll just look at this one song for now and maybe others across the way. So you see here in the screenshot that I put up the vocal group that performed the main vocals for this piece. This is a choir. I want to briefly talk about them because upon first hearing the song, many people's first impression is, oh wow, this sounds like Ghost in the Shell, a lot of Japanese music influences in there. What it reminded me of was like a type of ritual, I don't want to say religious, but ritual or spiritual music that is typical of certain parts of East Asia that have this very nasal and clear, brilliant tone. But upon looking more into the group of singers here, I will put up the title because even if I try to pronounce it, it will be a mess. I actually found out that this is a very special type of singing and a very beautiful way of representing one of the many ethnic groups of China, because these singers are actually from the Kam people or Dong people, and this is, as I was saying, one of the many ethnic groups of China. And what they are doing here is they are using the Kam Grand Choir or Grand Song, and it's actually a UNESCO world-class intangible cultural heritage since 2009. So this is a very special traditional singing style we're seeing here from this special polyphonic choir. The exact name in the Kam language is Gal Laox. I will write it again. I'm probably saying it wrong once again, but I really want to talk about it a lot to have this information that I found out known as much as possible. Some lyrics have been posted around the internet. I would also post them. It's a bit difficult to have the exact lyrics and in the exact translation, but the overall vibe of it is reflects what Phantylia is about. So let's go about it and listen to it, because stuff like vocal placement, tone is really interesting to me, and I also want to look at the performance because yeah, it's really awesome. Also, of course, here we're in the Shanzhou Luofu, so traditional Chinese music in general is popping off. I mean, the venue is packed. The techno on it. Chills. Strings. So it's so beautiful also to hear this percussions, also very much part of this traditional way of making music. Staccato, so clear. It's like it's hitting you directly with the vocals. The light are following along so beautifully. So powerful with so little happening. I love the traditional clothing once again. Now the chanting is much lower, right? Lower and faster. This music, I let the boss win. I don't care. Pretty sure that this is during the boss fight when happens. like they're controlling the synths with their hands. The vocal setup is also very similar to Chinese classical singing. Fantastic, stunning performance. It grows a lot throughout the various phases. If you actually listen to it, the fundamental elements of the song are the come choir, the techno elements, which are mainly these sweeping sounds, woo, going up and down, like kinda, right? With sweeping, that is what it is. The sweeping synths, and the orchestra part of it is not that big compared to what you would expect. There are some strings going along with the vocals here and there, some traditional plucked instruments like giving some accents here and there, some brass, but just in the most intense parts. Right at the beginning you can hear it's just the vocals and some background elements, and it's perfect as it is. This just goes to show that you don't have to think that you need to do a lot to have something that has an impact or is, it sounds new and refreshing. Vocally speaking, I was saying it's a very nasal and brilliant tone, similar to what we hear in Chinese classical singing, its own classical singing technique. But since this is polyphonic singing, so it's not meant to be solo singing, you have to kind of go and listen to all the different voices coming together. So this very brilliant and kind of nasal tone, it's not exactly nasal, it's kind of here in between the tip of the nose and the top of your mouth, so kind of like in this spot here. And this brilliant spot is used in different ways across different traditional singing techniques. We can hear it here, we can hear it in classical Chinese singing, but also if you think about Bulgarian choirs, the higher pitches of that kind of singing style also has a bit of this brilliance. Italian and some kind of Italian, southern Italian singing styles also have this. So it's a very different type of brilliance compared to what we have when we think classical operatic head voice. Because with head voice we would have, first note they're doing sa. This would be if we were singing it operatically, right? Sa. But what they do is sa. So first of all, no vibrato, and once again, very nasal, very on the top here, right? You can immediately hear the difference. And of course, I'm just doing like a very simplified version of it to let you hear the difference of sound. But this is meant, and I say this a lot, to find a brilliance, an ease in like expelling the air out of your body without fatigue or strain on your voice, and also to carry the sound as far as possible, and to kind of have what I call natural mixing, because when the higher harmonies of this polyphonic choir are doing this sa, it will immediately blend with the parts that are like doing sa, sa, and they're not going in this part here, right? If they're singing lower, they will hit a different frequency, and this has them, as I say, naturally mixed together. So a very beautiful and smart way that we have over time figured out to mix naturally instead of what a mixing engineer would do today on the computer. They would be doing the same with the software they have to mix. And this is because I mix my own music often, and I see when I mix my choir parts, right, as they intertwine naturally when I sing, but also when I mix them to make them blend better together. Traditional music, whether it's classical, folk, or any other kind of style, as often taught about this, they will go over the instruments that are accompanying them, so that each part has the best chance to be heard far away from the audience that is sitting at a certain distance, you know, and also there's a very good chance that there is no confusion between the instruments, that each one is heard clearly doing its own thing. So as I was saying, this kind of nasal, brilliant sound here is mostly done in the high melodies done high up that I just showed you. But for example, the usually it's maybe 2-3 harmonies. I'm thinking it's difficult to listen here with all the stuff going on in the song, but it's probably across fifths and thirds. The lower one will probably have a softer kind of sound to it, or a rounder maybe sound to it, not that round because it will be too different, but a slightly rounder sound, so that it can support the higher sound and make it and elevate it, as you can hear in the original song. The airflow is very controlled in this kind of setup that I just explained so far, and this lets them to keep the note from breaking. It lets them keep a very beautiful pitch accuracy also, which is very important because often this kind of polyphonic choir singing is also done a cappella, which means without any kind of music accompanying it. So you need to have a strong sense of pitch accuracy, and the better your voice is set up in the way that, you know, the muscles are supporting there, the air is coming out as good as possible, etc. The better you're doing all of this, the better your pitch and your intonation will be. I'm really happy that I found out that it was not just like a very cool, interesting and unique song for a beautiful boss fight. It was also a beautiful way to include and represent this ethnic group that I knew nothing about. I really encourage you to go and read more about them. If you have any questions that came up from this analysis, do let me know in the comments. If there are other songs that you want me to look at from Star Rail, Genshin Impact, I've done one, and probably there might be another already out, or it's gonna come out soon, I think, or other artists. Do let me know in the comments. I also have something next in mind for Star Rail, as I'm almost caught up with version 2.3. And if you want to support me, you can subscribe to the channel, leave a like. You can become a patron on my Patreon, or leave me a coffee, or just listen to my music on all my music platforms. That costs nothing and helps me a lot, and hopefully you also enjoy my own singing in addition to me talking about singing all the time on this channel. See you in the next one, and have a great day.